What's up, sports fans? This is Jake Waxman from Two Guys Talk Sports, and I officially, at long last, I know you guys are thinking about time, I would like to welcome you to the very first ever Waxon Wednesday on YouTube. So, let's get this show on the road. Apologies for making you wait an extra week, but I'm ready to get down to business at long last. Got a working webcam. Let's do this. All right. My first topic of the day, I'd like to reflect on the NHL drafts. So overall, for the Blackhawks, it was a draft that you couldn't go wrong. As long as you drafted Connor Bedard at number 1, you could do no wrong afterwards. But I will say this, but it wasn't just because of Connor Bedard that I thought they had a really good draft. I mean, sure, they took him at number 1, easy choice, and probably the most talented player in the draft, but they also had one more pick in the first round, and I just gotta say, it looks like they got a steal at number 19. So they drafted 2 centers in the first round, Connor Bedard and the other being Oliver Moore, who is from the developmental Team USA developmental program. And from what I have heard, that kid's got a lot of speed. So we know Bedard, skill set, the speed, and the puck handling is all there. What I like about from what I've seen from Oliver Moore, he's got a lot of speed in his game and good leadership. And Kyle Davidson, who is the general manager of the Blackhawks, he could not believe he got him at number 19. That's what he said. He was trying to trade up in the NHL draft to get Oliver Moore. And turns out he didn't have to. Oliver Moore just fell right into his lap at number 19, and of course he takes him. But I really like both Bedard and Moore. I think they're going to be great contributors to the Blackhawks. I'm looking for, like I said, it feels great to be a Blackhawks fan. I mean, I'm looking forward. I don't know how this next season's going to go, but I am looking forward to watching Connor Bedard play in a Blackhawks jersey. And Oliver Moore, I don't think he'll play immediately. He's going to play a year in college, and then he'll come to the Blackhawks the following season, as most prospects do who get drafted in the NHL. But I'm looking forward to seeing what Oliver Moore's got. Connor Bedard and Oliver Moore, congratulations on being drafted to the Blackhawks. Welcome aboard. Can't wait to watch them both play. Really excited about both. And yes, I am excited about Connor frickin' Bedard. Bedard Mania. Can't wait to watch him play in the Windy City. I know they're going to turn him loose right away. Hopefully, Blackhawks got to do this right, though. Got to build talent around him, which it looks like that's what they're trying to do. But let him go at his own pace, all right? If he doesn't get, say, 60 or 70 or 50 points in the NHL season, okay, hey, not the end of the world, okay? It takes time to get used to this game. So I'm not expecting him to have massive numbers of points in the season. If he goes a modest 20 or 30 points, that's fine by me. I'm okay with that. And he doesn't need to play every game. We just got to let him build up, okay? Rebuilding process for the Blackhawks right now, okay? But all that being said, I'm excited. I can't wait to see what this kid has in store. Is it October yet? Can we just start hockey season already? Looking forward to watching Connor Bedard play, and excited for him. And congrats to him and Oliver Moore and everybody else who was drafted by the Blackhawks. Welcome aboard. Great draft for the Blackhawks. Really proud, really satisfied. And sure, the rebuild's, all right, rebuild's begun. Excited to see where it goes from here. Now, and all right, Tyler and everyone else who's Red Wings fans, just for you, I'll give you guys some talk about the Red Wings draft. I thought it was particularly interesting to see what Steve Yzerman did. Now, I will say, he took 2 centers in the first round, which is interesting. So it looks to me like Yzerman kind of understands, okay, this is going to be a bit of a lengthy rebuild for the Red Wings. Next year, they still could make the playoffs, but I think Yzerman knows what kind of a rebuild he's in, and it looks like it's a long-term one. So the 2 picks they had in the first round indicate to me they're building depth for the long run. And that's not a bad thing, all right? If they don't make the playoffs, it's just because, hey, the rebuild's still going. But you know what? Based on what I've seen, I will say that Steve Yzerman has a plan for the Red Wings. What it is, maybe we don't understand yet, but we know he's doing something. And probably doing what is going to help the Red Wings organization best, from what I can understand and tell. All right. So just some of my thoughts on the NHL draft from the perspective of the Blackhawks and the Red Wings. All right. So the big story this week that's really, really catching everybody's attention, and it's caught mine too. NASCAR, I don't follow a lot of NASCAR, but they had their first ever street race on the streets of Chicago. And this is the first street course race ever in the history of NASCAR. And how about this? A man from New Zealand wins in his first start. So congrats and kudos to Shane Van Grisbergen. Correct me if I mispronounce it. Shane Van Grisbergen. The man from down under, the Kiwi from down under. He's from New Zealand. How about this? In a Trackhouse racing car, took that 91 car to victory lane in his first start. That is crazy. I kind of figured, okay, a guy like him will run well, but to win in his first start, I, for one, did not see that coming. I'm sure a lot of people did not. It wouldn't have surprised me to see him run well, but to win his first start, holy cow. What a driver. And he deserved that win. He got that car up front, ran up front, drove a perfectly good race. His team had a great strategy around him. Trackhouse, they are no slouch in NASCAR. But man, good job. All I gotta say is kudos to Shane. Well done. Way to take the racing world by storm and make a statement. And you know what? Ever since that race, the gears in my head, they're turning. I'm really thinking. And there's this thought that's coming to my mind more than anything else. V8 Supercars. I don't know if it's the best racing series out there, but could V8 Supercars be the most underrated series? Could it be the most talented series in the world? The most talented packed series in the world? Because a lot of drivers who have found success outside of racing came from V8 Supercars. I can name a couple too, not just Shane Van Grisbergen. But hey, you guys all remember Marcus Ambrose, right? He was the first guy from V8 Supercars to race at NASCAR and won 2 races at Watkins Glen in his career. And you know what? He was no slouch. He had great runs even at tracks that weren't road courses. So he was really, really good in his NASCAR days. And while he was better in V8 Supercars, he was no slouch in NASCAR. And then there's Scott McLaughlin. Of course, he's not NASCAR, rather IndyCar, but he's one of the V8 Supercars' more successful drivers. And now he's in IndyCar, and he's holding his own. He's already won 4 races in IndyCar in 3 seasons with Team Penske. He's holding his own there. So it makes you wonder. It makes me wonder, how good are those drivers there? They got to be some of the best in the world at what they do. Because the fact that we had a driver and Scott McLaughlin, who went from driving cars to open wheel cars and winning races in IndyCar with almost no experience and not too long of a time, it makes you wonder how those drivers, they got to be some of the most adaptable. There's talent in that series. And I myself, I need to watch V8 Supercars. I need to figure out what channels are showing it because I need to watch that series. There are good drivers that come out of that series that could do well almost anywhere, not just NASCAR or IndyCar. Maybe even like IMSA, for example. Maybe even Formula One. Just a thought, The fact that Shane Van Grisbergen, in his first start in NASCAR, no experience, and wins this first ever street race on the streets of Chicago, that has got me thinking. V8 Supercars, that series is no slouch. They've got most underrated racing series in the world, and probably the most talented, the biggest collection of talent in the world, perhaps. Because many of the drivers who have come out of there have found success elsewhere. Like Marcus Ambrose, for example. I mentioned Shane. And then there's also Scott McLaughlin, who's leading the charge for guys out of V8 Supercars. So, based on the observations I made, there are drivers in that V8 Supercars who could do well almost in any series that I mentioned, like IMSA, IndyCar, NASCAR. You know what? After what Shane did, it wouldn't surprise me to see Van Grisbergen get a full-time ride in NASCAR after he's done with his last season in Supercars and race full-time there. And it wouldn't surprise me to see more drivers come out of V8 Supercars and race in the other series and find success. There is a lot of talent in V8 Supercars from what I understand. And you know what? If they can show it by going to other racing series, man, oh man. Now, I'm not suggesting that V8 Supercars should be like a farm system for other racing series, but what I'm saying is there's a lot of talent in V8 Supercars. And guys like Scott McLaughlin, Marcus Ambrose, and Shane Van Grisbergen putting that talent on full display. So, once again, Shane, congratulations and well-deserved on your win. And, folks, watch out. watch out for V8 Supercars series. That's got a lot of good drivers there. All right, third and final topic. All right, I got some catching up to do. Sports fans, I owe my man Tyler an apology. I missed out. I owe you all an apology, okay? I should have done this video last week. No excuses. I'm just going forward. We're going to do the best we can. Keep this webcam working. So now I'm going to do some catching up for my third subject, and we're going to answer two of Tyler's questions of the week. I'm going to go start with last week. So he mentioned that the street race of Chicago made its debut, along with the general opposition from many fans and locals for varying reasons. Some are assuming all of the Windy City is a horrific crime area, given the various stats regarding shoplifting, homicides, carjackings, and other things. Yeah, Chicago, public image there is not so good right now in Chicago. I won't lie to you, folks. Is it unfair to point all of Chicago in such a negative light thanks to what happens in various neighborhoods? Are folks rightfully concerned? Honestly, now, if we're talking like outside of sports, you know what? If we're talking outside of sports, we have every right to be concerned. It's understandable. But in terms of sports, that's an image we just need to leave outside of sports. That's unfair. So if we're outside of sports, Tyler, I can agree with that. But if we're focusing on sports, we don't need to think about this negative politics and all that light. We need to keep that out of sports, because Chicago sports fans are some of the most loyal and some of the biggest diehard fans in sports. That town is rocking when its sports teams are doing well. They don't call it the Windy City for nothing when it's doing well, because the fans are rocking too. So only in politics is that a fair statement. Is that a fair filter to have? But if we're talking about sports, let's keep that filter out of the Windy City, and let's not worry about like that from a sporting perspective. All right, because sports should always be separate from the politics. All right, and finally, second question. Now we're on to this week's question. So, Tyler, your question this week. Minor league baseball teams that are part of the MLB's farm system generally have two team names that fall into two categories. A, unique nicknames, or B, the team name of the parent MLB club. Okay, I think I know what you're talking about here, because I have an example this year. For example, the Detroit Tigers' respective teams from single A to triple A all have unique names, while the Cubs have the team name in their single A and triple A affiliates, while their double A affiliate has a unique name, the Tennessee Smokies. Okay. Names for the Great Smoky Mountains in northeastern Tennessee. Makes sense. Do you like teams with unique names, or the names shared with the main club and the players hope each to play for one day? Okay, Tyler, easy answer to this. I like the unique nicknames, all right? Doesn't, like big leagues or not, let's just be honest. If your town has a sports team, own it. Name it whatever you want. Have a unique name. That's what I have to say about that. Whether it's like the minors or the majors, have a unique name, okay? And one example I want to point out, Tyler, is the South Bend Cubs. That's another one of the Cubs affiliate teams, or farm teams. Before they were called the South Bend Cubs, Tyler, they used to be called the South Bend Silverhawks, and I like that team a lot better when they were the Silverhawks, because that was unique, all right? It's different. Different name. Kind of like the Lansing Lugnuts, who are a farm team to the Toronto Blue Jays. Different name. They're associated, but hey, it's a different entity. Okay, we don't need to be copying Homer, or names left and right, just because they're affiliated with the Major League Baseball team that they're affiliated with. Even if it's required in the contract, like, okay, you got to be named so-and-so, to be affiliated with us. So that's just kind of my thoughts. So I've been to a Silverhawks game, or a South Bend Silverhawks game, and this was back when they were the Silverhawks, and I was young back in those days, and that was way before they renamed them the South Bend Cubs. So I just want to say I like the unique names better, because you know what? It helps a town build pride in itself and helps that fan base build pride in the team, because it's unique to have a different name. Even if you are a farm team of a Major League Baseball team, got to have that pride, all right? Take pride in that and have a different name to show, okay, we may be associated with the Cubs or the Tigers, but you know what? We are going to be who we want to be, and we want a unique nickname to show that we are who we are, because each team is different and each team has its unique personalities, and you know what? The name helps with that a lot. So, Tyler, 100% I am on board with the unique nicknames and all that stuff. 100%. Because it brings out the pride in the team and brings out the best in like the fan base and brings out the best in the town. That's where I leave this subject. All right, on to this day in sports history. And on this day, the 5th of July, 2011, or not 2011, but 2015. The USA women's team wins the FIFA Women's World Cup, defeating Japan 5-2 and getting revenge on a Japan team that upset them in the previous Women's World Cup back in 2011. I do remember that day, and man, that Team USA, they were the U.S. women's soccer team. They were hell bent on getting revenge that day, and they did, winning 5-2. All right, sports fans, that is all I got for this week. I hope you enjoyed my first Waxon Wednesday on YouTube, and any criticisms or comments you want to say, leave it below. I'm open to feedback and criticism. Anything else you want to say, or anything you want me to talk about next week or beyond, let me know, and I'll get to that. And, and any questions that you have for next week's video, post them below, and it may be the question that I answered. So, all right, until next time, thanks for watching this week's Wax on Wednesday, and this is Jake Waxman from Two Guys Talk Sports, signing off.